I thought gold was supposed to be doing well this year with all the money printing that we did last year. It hasn't. It hasn't. Is it ready to break out on the upside? I've got perspective coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. All right, is gold ready for a breakout on the upside? Are we going to see a gold rally? You guys know that, this is probably about a year or so ago, right, as they really were printing a whole bunch of money, did a couple videos saying, okay, watch out, people are going to say gold is going to take off here because of all the inflation that people expected and all of that. And it hasn't happened, okay? So a couple of things that people say gold as an investment has a reputation for. Number one, they say that gold is a good hedge against the stock market. Well, we've talked about this in the past. I'm not going to show you any charts. I'll just tell you that at volatile times, gold can hold up okay against the stock market, but during extreme times, gold does not pass that standard. It does not pass that test. During extreme times that we saw in March of 2000, that we saw in the crash in the fall of 2008, when investors reach that panic level, when they reach that crisis point, they go risk off. They don't want to hold anything, okay? And so even though as in late February of 2020, stock market started to sell off. We started to see that waterfall decline and gold held up okay. But in the early and mid-March, when the stock market was dropping like crazy, gold dropped 20-some%. It dropped just as fast as the stock market once we reached that crisis stage. Same thing happened in the fall of 2008. I think gold was down in the fall of 2008, 20-some%, again, because investors went risk off. They didn't want to hold gold either. Okay, so as a hedge against volatility on the stock market, yeah, it's there. But as a hedge against a declining stock market, I haven't seen it. The evidence hasn't been there. What about inflation, though? And that's the perspective of today's video. The fact that we've seen inflation. What's gold done? Now, gold has the reputation of being a great hedge with inflation because, it sort of logically makes sense, but markets don't always react logically. There is proof of this if you go back to the last really high inflationary time. Look at this chart. Gold was up considerably in the late 70s, okay, rising to what? I think $675 an ounce. So it did fantastic during the last inflation surge that we had in the late 70s. It reached, I believe, $675 in the early 80s. And then it fell. Once we got inflation under control, the price of gold fell from there, didn't come back to $675 until 2007. Guys, this is the time period when people come to me and say, yeah, I'm worried, I don't like the stock market, I should invest in gold, or I heard people promoting gold on the radio, blah, blah, blah. All you need to do is cite this 30 years, this 25 years where gold was negative, okay? And then you could say, yeah, but I know from that time, from 2007 to right now, gold has been fantastic. I know, but this idea of it being an inflation hedge, okay, and we're going to test that. Gold has been fantastic here in just a minute, but that would mean because we've seen the fastest inflation that in a decade, several decades, right? I think it's since the early 1990s, inflation's higher than it's been since then, right? Gold should be doing fantastic, right? Wrong. Gold has been awful. Gold is sitting around the same value it was in 2012 right now. It is well off its highs. It hit 2,000 an ounce, mid to late 2020. And then now it's down, it's fallen, significantly. This year, we've had all sorts of inflation, right? Lumber was way up, now it's way down. If you look, gold is down, 7% at the time that I'm recording this video, year to date, at a time when we're seeing prices soar. Absolutely, we're seeing inflation, and yet gold is negative year to date. And that's not, if you're looking and saying, well, yeah, maybe other commodities have come back down. Maybe they were really hot and they've come back down. No, I mean, precious metals have, sure. Gold is underperforming those, but it is significantly underperforming normal commodities or other sorts of similar asset classes. I guess I would lump it all into commodities. It's underperforming significantly this year and over the last year. But then what about the premise that I said earlier that gold, yeah, over the past 10 years or last 15 years, since it re-hit in 2007, that $675 an ounce, I mean, it's been a fantastic investment, right? Take a look at this chart. I would have said, if you would have asked me just on the street, Jay Leno style, hey, what do you think gold as an investment has done over the past 10 years? I probably would have said, I don't know, average 5% a year. Guys, negative 5% over in the past 10 years. Negative 5% in the past 10 years. Compare that to the S&P 500, compare that to NASDAQ, compare that to semiconductors. I mean, gold as an investment over the past 10 years at a time when we haven't seen a lot of inflation, 9 of those 10 years, but now it's absolutely picked up. Gold has been atrocious as an investment. So, is a rally, are we going to see a rally here? Number one, I would tell you, as an investment, it seems like gold speculators are now speculating in the crypto assets, okay? I mean, the value proposition with cryptocurrencies and gold, it's very similar. And those of you that are big fans of either one of these, you're gonna argue the nuances, okay? But just hear me out. The big idea for gold and for cryptos is an alternative to fiat currency. It just is. And so it's, hey, there's a limited supply of gold. Yes, you can mine it and these other things. There's a limited supply. There's a limited supply of Bitcoin. Yeah, but there's, an infinite supply of a bunch of other cryptos. You can create one out of thin air. So, but at the core of each of those, they stand against fiat currency where some powers are at be manipulating the currency and how much the money supply is. So both of them share that same kind of core premise. Therefore, I think part of the reason why gold hasn't surged, even though we've seen lots of inflation, is because speculators that are normally trading in it or pushing the price higher are doing so within cryptos. I could be wrong. I don't know if there's any evidence to support that or refute that, but that's my guess. Therefore, are we going to see a rally in gold? I definitely think it's possible because logically you would expect that the price of gold should go up when we print all this money, when there is inflation. Yet at the same time, I believe there's been abundant speculation in gold. Why? It provides no cash flow. There's no dividend with gold. It provides no interest income to you. Second, I have no idea how much it should be worth. Right? I can tell you right now, mathematically, it looks like the stock market's high. I can tell you right now, mathematically, it looks like Amazon stock is low. I can tell you right now, mathematically, it looks like Apple stock is high. I have no idea about the future, but mathematically, I can get there. I can arrive at what the value could be, should be. That's how Warren Buffett has been, this generation's greatest investor, is because he can determine the value of things and then just wait patiently for the market to either prove that right or wrong. I don't know with gold, okay, right? We can't mathematically come up with it. You'd expect, though, if there is some intrinsic value there and we've printed all this money, gold should rally. And over the next 5 years, is it possible that we see gold surge? I think so. I do think so. I think it will depend on what happens with cryptos, what happens to the overall, the overall stock market and the economy. To me, I think it also, matters about inflation, what we see there. To me, I'm not a speculator. I'd encourage you not to speculate in gold. If you have some play money, it's probably much more fun to dabble within cryptos, but maybe allocate a little bit to gold if you'd like to. To me, I think what's more important is that you've got an overarching approach that hopefully has a portion that's in commodities, and gold would be part of that, okay? You wouldn't have more than 2, 3, maybe 5% at the most of your portfolio in something like that, in commodities, precious metals, something like that, something like gold. And certainly over the next 5 years, could it outperform? I think the potential is there for sure. I think that potential is there for sure simply because of the inflation, right? The potential for the inflation because of all the money printing that we've been doing. But as you know, I'm a long-term investor, not a speculator, so hope this perspective has helped you. And to me, I would just be very, very careful and leery of anyone strongly pushing and encouraging gold, because we just don't know, as evidenced by the past 15, 18 months where gold should have absolutely taken off and it hasn't. So, all right, work with your CFP. Make sure you've got a solid, diversified investment strategy for the long term, and you're also complementing that diversified strategy with a momentum strategy that can get into gold. If gold is absolutely surging, it can do that, right? It can get into these various areas, these various investment categories when the time seems appropriate and they've got momentum. So work with your CFP on that. If you don't have a CFP that's helping you with those sorts of things, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there as well, or send us an email, info@korhorn.com. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.